So here's a fun question. Frederick says, it felt like it was difficult to feel the whole stretch, and sometimes it felt like it was more of a line than a stretch, and he's talking more about his experience. And then he says, Jeffrey, is there a benefit to this? Like, what kinds of things do you learn about your brain doing this? And this is a good question because as we're going through, if you're sharing in the group, you'll see mostly people posting their positive things like, I'm excited about this, or I had this amazing experience. But there's also times when we struggle a little bit too, or wonder like, why am I even doing this? So that's what the Q&A is for, is to help give you a chance to answer that. Now, yeah, there's definitely a benefit to this, but as you're going through the program, it probably isn't clear to you day by day what the specific benefit is, right? But I've been studying for many, many years and practicing and teaching for many years. And what I've done in this program is I've gone through and meticulously organized the awareness so that just how can I open it up just step by step by step for you where you won't even know it's happening. Like you just do a little exercise, you don't even know why you're doing it, but things open up. And then the next day we build upon it, we do another little exercise, we stretch a little bit further. And so, yeah, day by day, what I'm doing is I'm just stretching you a little more, a little more, a little more in a way that you can grow and expand without having to really understand it fully or take the, 25-year journey that I took to get here. We're going to take you there very quickly instead. And so the benefit is sort of in the secret sauce. Now, if you read my daily notes, you'll see that I do tend to give you a little bit more specific details on what we were doing and kind of make your brain happy in the notes and in the Q&A too. But in the program itself, I intentionally don't do that. I just want you to have your experience. I don't want to tell you what to do before you do it. I just want you to do it and get an honest, authentic answer for yourself. But every day there's a benefit, I promise. And if you stick with it, you'll notice that the program changes a lot throughout too. So if you don't like something, if you're in one day and you're like, this isn't very fun, you'll notice that we'll change the next week, the next section, and so on will be different. And you'll have a different experience. So great question. Melody says, today it came to me while listening to day 4, what's the difference between awareness and to be present? Jeffrey, could you please clarify about awareness? Sure. So when we're talking about awareness, this is just being aware of the part of you that is conscious. So I know I'm kind of using a cyclic description here, but if you think about where do you think of when you say I am? Like, what does that mean? And that's what we're starting to work with where am I and when am I, because that starts to really help you get kind of a boundary around or kind of a tangible sense of that I am something besides my body. And so at this point, when we're talking about awareness, we're just working on that. We're just working on the acknowledgement that I exist in some form, or my thoughts or my consciousness or my focus exists in some form that's non-physical. And that's sufficient. As we go further into the program, of course, we'll get deeper into different styles of awareness, but for now, that's plenty. Matthew says, it's all very new to me, stretching my awareness. It's just hard for me to comprehend exactly what I'm supposed to be feeling or where my mind should be focused. The whole time my head kept saying out loud, am I doing this right? How the heck can I stretch my awareness? What does that even mean? And a great question, Matthew. So what's happening there is that I'm giving you exercises that you haven't done before, and I'm not giving you a whole lot of instruction on what exactly you should feel. The reason why I'm doing that is I don't want your brain to fill in the blanks with the things that I've told you. I want you to go in and just have a natural, original, authentic experience for yourself and discover it for yourself. And so the side effect of this is going to be that sometimes you'll be there thinking, what is he talking about? Stretch my awareness, or what are we doing with this time thing? And that's totally okay. It's great in this program to be outside your comfort zone, to be doing things that you're not sure of, and you're kind of having to stretch yourself a little bit. That's actually the whole point of this training, is to stretch your awareness into all these different areas that you may not normally have attempted or have any experience at. So if you're feeling a little confused, no problem. By the end of each little section, every 5 days, you should be noticing that, oh, I'm getting it now. That stretching my awareness thing was confusing on day 2. Now, day 5, I think I got it down. So good question. Can you move your awareness to a place when you have no idea what that place looks like? And yes, you can. In fact, we did that already, because you probably have no idea what the edge of the universe looks like,
or the edge of the solar system, or even really, I guess you might have an idea from some photographs you've seen of looking at from Mars down toward the Earth. But my point is, yes, you can move your awareness to a place you have no idea what it looks like. And when you start doing that and getting tangible feedback from other people, maybe you go somewhere that your friend has been but you haven't been to, you describe it to them and they say, yes, that's right. That's when you start noticing, wow, this is real. My awareness is real. My intuition is real. I can tune in and see things that I haven't seen with my eyes yet. And that kind of validation is when it really starts to kick in and you realize that, okay, I'm not just making it up. I'm not just visualizing. This is real for me.
So Cindy asked, it's day 3, why am I feeling annoyed with the exercises as I was in days 1 and 2? And yeah, this happens sometimes as we're shifting into a new awareness. So sometimes it's frustrating because we're trying to do things perfectly and that we're not understanding what we're supposed to do or why we're doing it. And in this training, I intentionally tell you, or I intentionally don't tell you what I want you to feel and what I want you to do or how you're supposed to experience it, because that would taint your authentic experience. And for activation to work, it's more important as you're raising your awareness to notice what's authentic for you, right? We're not trying to have you have a specific experience or see it or feel it or something happen a certain way. There's no right way to be aware of things other than to say the authentic way would be the right way, right? So that's why I'm not giving you a lot of programming that you should do this or you should feel this or try it this way. This can be a little frustrating if you're used to, most trainings do program you to do it a certain way and say that there is a right way and you should do it that way or you're failing. That's not happening in this training at all, right? There's no failing. You're just doing it along the way. So sometimes it's that. It's frustration that like you're not guiding me enough, or my brain isn't catching up. Sometimes this frustration comes from a realization that you've been missing out on something that was always there. So maybe there are some cultural rules or family rules or norms that you were stuck in or participating in. And as we break out of those, you realize, wow, I was missing out. Like there was more to the world than I knew, and I was kind of missing out. And sometimes that'll come out as frustration or annoyance because you're thinking like, wow, those people who did that to me, right? And I'd say resist that. It's not anybody that did it to you, right? Everybody's doing their best to help. But if we're confused, we tend to spread confusion. And if we're in pain, we tend to spread pain. So you probably pick that up from some other people. Now you're just shifting it. So if you're feeling that frustration of like, I wish I'd have learned this earlier, just kind of relax and be amused instead. And either way, frustration just means that energy is moving, and that's a good thing, right? That's the whole purpose of this class. We're getting some energy to move so you can wake up in new ways. So don't take it seriously when you're annoyed. Don't get caught up in the drama of it. Just notice, hey, interesting, I'm frustrated, and leave it at that. That's actually a little tip from my wife, actually. That's her, her MO always is just like, today is this day. Without any judgment or frustration, just acknowledgement that, yes, this is like this today. She's saying that my partner isn't into this, so I'm here incognito and I'm practicing because they're not into the same things. And so I would say, yeah, this happens a lot when you're treading new ground. But what I'd say is that even though it can be very challenging when our partner isn't into the same things, or maybe they're even religiously opposed to or philosophically opposed to the new things we're learning, it's still important because someone has to start the change, right? As we're moving from kind of an old consciousness to a new consciousness or learning new things, somebody has to start that. And in this case, it's you. If you're the person in the relationship that's there and the other person isn't into it, you're just changing first, and that's okay. What you want to do is you want to be very patient with your partner because it's likely that as you change, your partner will get curious about the positive things that they're seeing in you. And then they'll want to change too. They may start asking, hey, you look a little bit happier, or why do things seem easier for you? And as long as you're authentically changing and just enjoying yourself, you'll notice that people tend to come along for the ride rather than resist or fight with you and so on. I would say, though, that religious programming is some of the hardest programming to let go of. So try to have compassion if your partner is really into their particular religious beliefs, and those religious beliefs are saying that they shouldn't change for some reason, or it's bad what you're doing. So even if you feel like you're getting judged, just have compassion there, because that's a very challenging thing to be in that position for your partner where they're seeing you change and maybe they're afraid for you because of some religious programming they have. So just have compassion. And also try not to get judgmental about it or feel like you're better, because I can't tell you how many people I've seen shift from sort of a self-righteous religious attitude of always being right into a self-righteous new age attitude of always being right. And unfortunately, that's not really progress at all. It's just the same game with different names and ideas. So you don't want to think that you're better than your partner because you're changing their nut, right? Because then you're stuck as well. And I'd say on the flip side, if you can embrace these new experiences and still feel compassionate toward your partner's progress, then you're going to be doing great. That's going to help you grow as well. So great question.
New to me, stretching my awareness, it's just hard for me to comprehend exactly what I'm supposed to be feeling or where my mind should be focused. The whole time my head kept saying out loud, am I doing this right? How the heck can I stretch my awareness? What does that even mean? And a great question, Matthew. So what's happening there is that I'm giving you exercises that you haven't done before, and I'm not giving you a whole lot of instruction on what exactly you should feel. The reason why I'm doing that is I don't want your brain to fill in the blanks with the things that I've told you. I want you to go in and just have a natural, original, authentic experience for yourself and discover it for yourself. And so the side effect of this is going to be that sometimes you'll be there thinking, what is he talking about? Stretch my awareness, or what are we doing with this time thing? And that's totally okay. It's great in this program to be outside your comfort zone, to be doing things that you're not sure of, and you're kind of having to stretch yourself a little bit. That's actually the whole point of this training, is to stretch your awareness into all these different areas that you may not normally have attempted or have any experience at. So if you're feeling a little confused, no problem. By the end of each little section, every 5 days, you should be noticing that, oh, I'm getting it now. That stretching my awareness thing was confusing on day 2. Now, day 5, I think I got it down. So good question. Ryan says, I'm not sure if I truly understand where awareness is. When I bring my awareness to the center of my head, what I'm seeing is a mini me, literally inside my head and at the center. The inside of my head is hollow and dark, and I'm seeing myself hovering or floating inside my head. Okay, so this is actually a pretty typical way that people experience themselves when I say go into the center of the head. And actually, I really like to experience this way, where I'm a little tiny mini-me floating in the center of my head. That's really fun, especially if I'm going to be moving around in the body or stretching. That's a great perspective to have. Now, you could take a completely different perspective. You could feel like you're much bigger than your body, but you're sort of concentrating or focusing your attention into the center of your head. Either way is fine. I would say that however you're doing it naturally is perfect for you. Just go with that. Yana says, is transferring your awareness to places outside your body the same as visualizing being in those places? I can pretty well visualize myself in different places, but I'm not sure that doing this, that I leave my body. Okay, so yes, so when you're beginning to do the work, you're going to be visualizing the place that you're going to go. Now, I don't tell you to visualize it because the goal of this exercise is actually to start moving your awareness, right? So we started inside the body because that feels more tangible. You're used to being in your body. It feels like, sure, it's plausible that I could be in my head, and it's plausible that I can move into my ear. It might even be plausible that I can move down into my hand. So we kind of start where it's a little bit easier. And then very quickly, like I do in these programs, is I move you pretty quickly to, let's try getting above your head and looking down. How was that? Now let's try getting completely out of your body. How was that? And it may feel like you're kind of making it up or just visualizing at first, and that's okay. Again, it has to do with your mind is starting to relax and your experience is taking over. The more practice you get, the better you'll be at just turning off that analyzer and having a completely authentic experience. And you'll find that then it's possible even to experience things you've never experienced before.
So Sonia's asking, what do I mean when I say that we're breaking the linear movement rule or habit? This was in my notes one day where I'm giving you more details. And what I mean by that is, the question was, we're popping around in our awareness. We started by kind of stretching our awareness from place to place, and then we were moving our awareness from place to place. And then at some point I had you sort of slide your awareness around or sort of walk your awareness to different places. And then at some point I changed and said, just be in one place and then be in the next place and so on. And what I'm doing there is I'm helping you break habits. This is one of the big things we do in this training is you're programmed to think of the world as a physical reality. So you're this because that's your main experience and that's what's been validated. But energy doesn't work like matter. So energy is just energy. You can be in one place, disappear, be in the next place, disappear. Your thoughts naturally do that. You naturally move through time and space with your thoughts. You don't like, if you want to think about your friend in New York City, you don't like sort of imagine that you're traveling there and getting on a plane and going to New York City. You just boom, you're there thinking about him, and then you're thinking about something in the past, like an old relationship, and then you're thinking about what might happen in the future. So your thoughts naturally travel around non-linearly. But when I tell you to move your awareness, some people struggle with that, like, I can't do it. So that's all we're doing there is we're just kind of breaking those habits as we go of, helping you understand that you're a lot faster and more dynamic. And we'll do that all throughout the program. We'll be breaking these little habits that you don't even know you have, and we'll definitely be breaking the rules of what people have told you that you can do because you're super powerful and there's so much more you can do than you're aware of.